Hello everyone, welcome back to Instant for Monday!
Happy Monday! Don't forget we always clap on Mondays. Let's all grab a big cup of coffee, start the week with a massive dunk on EA.
Why, you may ask? Well, it's no secret that EA hasn't done a whole lot with the Star Wars license, and they may be finally at the end of their rope.
They're now 6 years into a 10-year deal with Disney for the exclusive rights to make Star Wars games.
That's right, and since then they've made some mobile games and a couple of Battlefront games that have been widely criticized for their monetization practices.
They've also killed off some Star Wars projects too, right, Lawrence?
Oh yeah, boy, they're really playing to their strengths. Starting out promising things and then murdering them in front of everybody. Yeah, EA famously canceled a single-player game codenamed Project Ragtag and shut down Visceral Studios, the company that had been developing that game. Later canceled the open-world Star Wars games that had evolved out of the Visceral Project too, so it was crawling for dear life, and then they just, yeah, little bits at a time. You just chop off a leg, then an arm, and then...
Man, you didn't even mention the Old Republic, but whatever, that wasn't part of the deal.
Hey, that was a game that came out that I played.
All of that has led to complaints from fans and critics that EA is wasting the Star Wars license. And worse, nobody else can make a Star Wars game because of that exclusive agreement.
But failure after failure may have finally ground down EA's death march to ruin every game they possibly can, which leads us to the recently revealed Jedi Fallen Order. We got our first look at the game at Star Wars Celebration over the weekend in Chicago.
Tell us more about it, Lawrence.
So this is the much anticipated game from EA subsidiary Respawn Entertainment. It was announced over the weekend at Star Wars Celebration with a cinematic trailer showing off our hero Cal, who sounds like a really rad dude, like a Jedi surfer. This is a Padawan trying to lay low after the Empire issued Order 66 and is hunting down any and all remaining Jedi. So it's in that post-Revenge of the Sith era, which is kind of neat.
In between episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
For all you Star Wars fans.
Star Wars universe is at its most bleak and dark.
Remember? He goes, execute Order 66, and then Grievous gets shot in the stomach, and you go, oh, that's all it took.
We didn't see any gameplay, but the trailer looked promising, showing off a story-driven Star Wars game with a compelling character.
That's right. Its Microsoft Store page also gives us some more details. So you're a Padawan, who is on the run and trying to rebuild the Jedi Order.
The game will focus on lightsaber combat, and you'll also be able to develop Force abilities while trying to stay ahead of Empire Inquisitors who are hunting you down.
Yeah, but Jedi Fallen Order is also making headlines for what it doesn't have.
That's weird. Lawrence, tell us about it.
EA stressed the game won't have any of the things that you come to expect from a garbage EA game. In a tweet, the publisher said, quote, no microtransactions, no loot boxes, and no, we won't be adding them. A single-player Star Wars game for those of you who are ready to become a Jedi. Like I've been ever since junior high.
What a sad state of affairs.
It really is.
This garners applause.
We won't hit you this time.
Buy our game. It's nothing like our other games.
So the question is, why is EA doing this now? Well, like we said, they've become almost synonymous with some of the practices that people hate in gaming.
While it makes a ton of money off things like FIFA's Ultimate Team mode, those loot boxes sparked a big backlash from Star Wars fans when it came to Battlefront II, like me, because I didn't even buy the game.
It was also just confusing. Here's your thermal detonator card, it's got 1 star. You're gonna want that 3 though.
Turns out Wookiees aren't soccer players. Stop it. And it's hard to overstate how much damage Battlefront 2 did to EA as a company.
Yeah, it wasn't the first full-price game to be loaded with microtransactions, but for a lot of people, it came to symbolize everything wrong with the video game industry.
Battlefront 2 was so badly received that it even tanked EA stock and briefly wiped out $3 billion in value.
Jeez,
so much money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money just for Battlefront 2. The microtransactions combined with EA's habit of buying studios, shutting them down, all contributed to EA making the list of the most hated companies in America last year. Way to go.
Good job. I mean, there are worse ones out there. This is the whole opioid crisis and
They made me pay for
sucks.
Sacklers, you know.
I'm gonna pay for thermal
actually
detonators.
murdering people. EA later took those microtransactions out of Battlefront 2, but then brought them back in the form of cosmetics only.
Still, the damage was done, and it apparently prompted some soul searching at EA, right, Lawrence?
They're just like sad walking through the parking lot to their Maserati.
Tesla summon.
EA executive Patrick Soderlund told The Verge last year that, quote, I'd be lying to you if I said that what's happened with Battlefront and what's happened with everything surrounding loot boxes and these things haven't had an effect on EA's company and an effect on us as management. It's clear to us that players see the company differently than we do, which makes you wonder how they see it.
Well, they see it as millionaires.
Yeah.
And they love it.
Some guy's mad at us on Reddit. Yeah, but we made billions of dollars.
Yeah, people can't wait
Who's
to buy
right?
these FIFA packs. This could be a move by EA to try and rehab its image with some gamers, basically anyone who doesn't play FIFA. They tried to make Battlefront 2 exactly like FIFA Ultimate Team, and it's different people.
Different strokes for different folks. So maybe they decided, okay, we might take a loss on this game, but if we put out a good Star Wars game, it'll be worth it.
See, they flipped around their chair and they sat down and they rapped at the kids. Yeah, that's how they got
They
it.
said, hey, Respawn, please help.
This game is definitely breaking a lot of EA's rules. It's on Unreal Engine instead of Frostbite, and it's single player, not games as a service-y, although it could have DLC one day.
They're also showing a lot of trust in Respawn, which that studio has earned given the success of Apex Legends and how good Titanfall 1 and 2 were.
And you might remember that when Apex came out, Respawn stressed that EA wasn't involved at all. EA didn't touch it.
This came from Respawn executive producer Drew McCoy, who said that EA had, quote, no hand in developing development or anything about this game. Stop asking, play it, it's good.
Which again speaks to the bad reputation that EA has built up over the years. And they really earned it, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, it's just been a series of weird and bad decisions that kind of prove they don't understand their own audience.
Yeah.
But with Jedi Fallen Order, we may be looking at some corporate rehab here.
Oh.
Yeah, Patrick Wilson, is that his name?
Andrew Wilson?
Andrew Wilson,
Yeah.
that's it. Took the weekend off, went to another millionaire's retreat, had 2 cucumber slices over his eyes. Just, what can we do to save Star Wars?
I do hold it up. Money.
Stop asking them for money all the time! Respawn founder Vince Zampella also stressed that Jedi Fallen Order won't have EA's grubby fingerprints on it. He told the cheering crowd at Star Wars Celebration that, quote, it's a single-player story game with no multiplayer, no microtransactions. Others at Respawn also tweeted that they're happy to be working on a single-player game that's focused on an actual story.
Whoa.
Unlike Battlefront II, bang!
Yeah.
It's not like single-player games can't make money. God of War sold more than 5 million copies in its first month, and Marvel's Spider-Man has sold more than 9 million copies on the PS4.
Red Dead Redemption 2 also sold 17 million copies in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's got Red Dead Online, but it is pretty safe to say that most people bought it for the single player mode and not RDO.
So it can be done, you just have to do it the old-fashioned way, $60 at a time.
And Star Wars is a well-known property, to say the least, and the game is coming out later this year when all the hype is building up for Episode 9, Rise of the Skywalkers, or whatever it's called.
You're close. So the conditions are there for it to be a success, but will EA's reputation get in the way? Lawrence, what do you think?
Well, I think that Operation Cinder didn't have a number, which doesn't make sense.
Oh, come on. Should have been Order 666.
Yeah, yes, it should have been. I don't get it. Come on, George Lucas, get your together. I saw that GIF last night of his head turning into a camera again, and I just love it so much.
I don't know what he's talking
You haven't seen that?
No.
Oh man, I gotta show it to you.
Autumn, show that.
To create images is always a challenge.
Nice to be the world's greatest company, you gotta toss out some poor assholes on their ass. Which is not how that saying goes.
Not
but
at all, no.
Apparently at EA it is. They have it printed up on a banner and everything.
An EA rep later said that the employees are getting severance, and their first priority is to help them find new jobs.
Like we said, this has been a tough year for the entire games industry with layoffs at ArenaNet, Activision Blizzard, and now